Hello everyone, I am Rod and I am the game design instructor for the Academy of Entertainment Arts over at Dixie Hollands High School. If you are one of my students, it's Mr. Flowers to you, and welcome to this video tutorial. Good afternoon everyone. We are back with our model here, and today we're going to look at how to rig the fingers on the hand. There are a dozen different ways of doing this, just like everything else. I'm going to try to show you a way that is very quick and will give you really nice results. So first things first, we're going to go to our hand, and I'm going to go ahead and grab this first knuckle on my index finger. And then I'm going to go up to Windows, and then bring in our connection editor. So General Editors, and then Connection Editor. Now, a lot like we did with our spine, we are going to set up a relationship between the main knuckle and its children joints. So I'm going to look at my list here. I'm going to scroll down to rotate. Now, if we just set our rotation value, it'll do all of them, but we don't want to do all of them. If there's a little plus sign here, we open that up, you can see we have a rotate X, Y, and Z. And we can create a relationship between these values here rather than doing the entire knuckle. So I'm going to grab this one. We already have that loaded on the left. Oops, come here, you. So index 1 is already loaded on the left. And then I'm going to grab the next knuckle. I'm going to go over and reload right. Now I'm going to scroll down, see how I'm on index 2. I'm going to scroll down to rotate. Now rotate's going to be grayed out. See that? The reason it's grayed out is we're not using the entire value. We're only using one of the sub-values. So if we open up this plus sign here, you'll see that X, Y, and Z are available. Now I chose the Z-axis because whenever I rotate, let me go ahead and grab this finger here. Whenever I bring up my rotation axis, you can see that the axis that rotates my finger into a closed position is my Z-axis. Okay? You can see that lighting up over here and that one here. If you did not orient your joints in the same direction that I oriented mine, then yours will be a different axis. Make sure you pick the correct one. Alright? So for me, it's going to be the Z-axis. I choose Z, and then I'm going to, on my reload right, make sure I have Z. And now when I rotate this finger, you will see that it bends this knuckle here. See that? I'm going to go ahead and grab the next knuckle down, hit reload right, and now I have my left index 3, and I will scroll down to rotate, hit the little plus sign, and then grab my rotate Z. And now whenever I rotate my finger, it'll close. See that? And that's really handy. No pun intended. And there it is pointing, there it is. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and set that Z back to 0. Now as far as this last knuckle at the end, we do not need this joint. Okay, the ones at the end have almost no influence, so we're going to ignore that one. Alright? So go ahead to the next finger. I'm going to grab my middle knuckle here, and I will reload my left. So now I'm on left middle 1. And then I'm going to grab the next knuckle down. I will reload right. And I am on my left middle 2. Scroll down to my rotation value. Where are you at? Here's my rotate. Whoops. Grab my rotate Z. And then I'm going to scroll down, grab my rotate and my rotate Z. Go ahead and check it, make sure it works. And you can see a little bit of peeling here. It's just because I haven't done my skin weights. You can ignore that. You can always fix those later. Okay, so that part works. Zero that back out. I'm going to grab the next knuckle down, and I will reload my right. Let's find my rotate value. Open that up and grab the Z. Awesome. I'm going to go down to the next finger. Reload my left. Take the next knuckle down, reload my right, open up my rotations. I'm going to grab my Z value. And then on the right side, I'll grab my Z value. Next knuckle down, reload right. Open up rotate, rotate Z. And then of course test it, make sure it works. That works. Grab my pinky finger, go ahead and reload my left, find my rotation value, then get my next knuckle down, reload my right, open up my rotations, get my Z, next knuckle, reload my right, rotate, Z. Test it, make sure it works, and that works pretty well. And now it's on to the thumb. The thumb's a little bit different than the other fingers, just because it works on a slightly different axis. Before I do this thumb, however, I want to make sure that I can emulate a closed fist. So I'm going to grab all of my knuckles here. So index, middle, ring, and pinky. And since I'm rotating on the Z, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Z over here. And then out here I can just middle mouse click and drag. And you can see that fist kind of closing up. Looks pretty alright. I'll do a minus 90 degrees. Not too bad. Alright, and then with the fist closed, I'm going to work on my thumb so I can get the appropriate distance the thumb needs to be away from the hand. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and grab my thumb knuckle. That's this top one in the hand here. See that? I'm going to go ahead and reload left. And then I will grab the next knuckle down, I'll reload right. Find my rotation value, and I'm going to open that up on both sides here. And I'm going to choose the appropriate axis. So if I select that knuckle and I bring up my rotation axis, well, the thumb probably won't move this way. Right? That wouldn't work. So I'm not going to set that one. The thumb could rotate a little bit here. Maybe. But the X value is probably going to be better. So I'm going to set my X value. I'm going to go ahead and make these 0. And I will choose my X rotation. And on the other side, my X rotation. Whoops, I don't want the Y. There we go. I'll grab the next knuckle down. And we'll reload right. Find my rotate. And choose my X. Whoops. So now when I rotate the X value of my thumb, you can see it forming a fist. Now again, you're going to have to choose the correct rotation for your hand, but that's the one that works for mine. And as far as like fingers kind of clipping through each other, we're going to fix a lot of this on the next part. Okay? Go ahead and exit the relationship editor. Let's open up our hand again. There's my X value. Here's my Z. Go ahead and zero these back out. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to be able to control our hand without having to grab each one of these knuckles, because that's tedious. So we're going to create a relationship between the hand controller and the primary knuckles of our fingers here. So with this selected, or left hand control selected, I'm going to go over to the Edit, and then go to Add Attribute. And I'm going to add an attribute for each finger that I need to control. Okay? So I'm going to do index onto index finger X. I'm going to set the minimum value to -10, maximum value to +10. Make sure we're set to float and scalar, and then hit add. There's index finger. And I'm going to do index finger y, -10, 10, add, and then index finger z. -10, +10, and add. I'm only going to set up the first finger, and then I'll let you guys go ahead and continue on with the others. Go ahead and hit close. And now let's bring up our animation editor to set a driven key. So go up to animations here. Come over to key, and then look for set driven key, and then do a set. And this kind of works like our relationship editor. We need a driver and a driven. Our driver is going to be our left-hand controller here. So I'm going to say load driver. And then my driven is going to be my index finger first knuckle. So I'll load driven. I'm going to come down to index finger X. Now remember, you have to do this in order. So with my left hand selected, index finger X, select my index finger 1, and then my rotation X value, and then I'll hit key. Now I'm going to go back up, grab my left-hand controller, my index finger X value, set it to -10, come down to index 1, my rotate X value, and I'm going to rotate this about as far as I think this knuckle should move. Kind of think of like when you're looking at Star Trek and they do the Vulcan symbol. This is how to move the finger sort of in and out. So in is going to be a negative value, so however far in I think I should be able to close my hand. This looks like I'll do a -15. Now I'll hit key. Select my hand control, my index finger X. I'm going to set +10. Grab my index finger, my rotate X, and how far out do I think I should go? I'll be consistent, and I'll just do a +15. That's how far my fingers can spread. Now I'll hit key. Now I'm going to do the next value here. So select my hand, and now my index finger Y. I will set this index finger X back to 0. Grab my index finger, my rotate Y, and I'll key it. Grab the hand, grab my index finger Y, set this at -10. Now I will select my index finger, index Y, grab the value here, and let's see how far I should go in the -Y. So what this does, it allows the finger to twist a little bit. And there will be some natural twisting, but your fingers, if you look at them and try, like if you look at your actual hand and you look at how the finger rotates, you'll see that it probably doesn't. So this value here doesn't need to be set very high. So I'm going to do a -5. And then I'll key it. Grab my hand control, my Y value, set it +10. Index finger, Y value, and I'll do a +5. and I'll key it. Okay. Now we're going to work on the next one. So grab my left hand control. I'm going to grab my index finger Z. I'm going to set the Y value back to 0. Left index 1. Grab my rotate Z and hit key. Grab the handle. Grab the value. Set the value. -10. Middle finger, or sorry, index finger Z value, and then grab that, and then middle mouse click and drag to see how far I want this to go. So I'm really just going to where this finger is closed. And this finger looks like it's closed. And if you look at your finger, like your actual finger, if you bend it, the first part of it bends about 90, the second part bends in about 90 degrees, and then the third part bends in about 90 degrees to close. So you'll end up getting the meat of the finger basically touching itself in between the knuckles. So if I look at this here, it's probably about as close as I can get it without skin weighting. I'm at -120. That's way too far. So I will do it. I'll do -110. And I'll key it. Grab that controller. Grab the finger, +10. Finger, rotate Z, and I will do a positive value. Now 110 is probably too high on here. So, or this is how far the fingers are going to bend backward. That's probably not natural. So I'll let them bend backward +20. Then I'll go ahead and key that. So now if I select this controller here, and I want to close that finger, all I have to do is dial in a value for it closing. And there it goes. If I want to open it, I can open it back up, because 0 should be natural. And if there's a moment where I have to flex the hand or the fingers, like maybe if he was doing a push-up or he leaned over and pressed his hand against something, I could get the fingers to bend backward just a little bit. Alright, so that's the setup for a single finger. You are welcome to go through and set up the rest of the other fingers. And don't forget to do the other hand, okay? And I will see you guys in the next video.